So you might be getting into your first house hack, or you might even be closing on your first house hack, and you want to make sure that you do it right. Well, make sure that you don't do these 3 things. What's up, guys? It's Sean. Now, if you're anything like me, you learn most of what you know on YouTube. Now, this could be good, as there is a vast amount of things on YouTube that you can learn. However, in some certain scenarios, there might not be any information on what you're looking for. And when I was first learning how to house hack, I couldn't find anybody on YouTube who was teaching about the lessons that they learned, what mistakes they made, and things that they would change. So I had to seek different types of education. Luckily for me, Curelop had just come out with the book, The House Hacking Strategy. And in that book, he details everything that he went through whenever he was first learning how to house hack, and a lot of criteria that you should be looking for in your first house hack. As well, I used some resources on the BiggerPockets website within the forum. I was asking questions all the time, and I was trying to learn from some of the podcasts of people who have already done exactly what we want to do. However, I quickly realized that I wanted to start a YouTube channel after I closed on my first house hack. That way I could detail some of the lessons that I learned and some of the largest mistakes that I ran into. And hopefully you can learn from some of those and not make the same mistakes that I made. My first mistake, and probably my largest mistake, was having too narrow of a focus on what I was looking for. I knew that I had to look for a 4 or 5 bedroom house. I knew I had to look for a way to separate myself from the tenants if possible. I knew I had to look for a house that was under $400,000, as that was what my pre-approval letter was. I got too narrow of a focus on those specific criteria and failed to look at all the other things that I needed to really hone in on to be able to do an effective house hack. And some of the largest mistakes that I made came from that one mistake of having too narrow of a focus. One is that I picked a kitchen that just wasn't suited for having 5 people in a house. I didn't choose a kitchen large enough to have a second fridge in it. And so when I moved the 5th person into the house, the fridge just got way too full and we weren't able to actually fit anything else in there. And so I had to go out and get a second fridge in which that 5th person could put their stuff in. However, if I would have looked for the area in the first place, then I would have done this a lot quicker. I had to put the fridge in the garage, and I moved all of our stuff into the garage fridge. That way the tenant wasn't so uncomfortable, and I don't mind being uncomfortable, so it worked out. Another large mistake I made from that was that I picked a house that had bedrooms were too close together. The master bedroom was right next to 2 other bedrooms that shared a bathroom, and then it was a split level. Because it was a split level and that was what I was specifically looking for, I didn't even pay attention to how close the bedrooms were together in the first place. And now I have 3 tenants living upstairs that are all so close together and are not able to live their lives in a peaceful manner. Another thing I didn't check for was parking space. Of course, there's going to be 4 or 5 people in the house, all with their own car. And where are they going to park if you are not looking for that parking area? And so when you're looking for a house, you want to find a house that has ample parking areas where you can park on the streets, park in the driveway, possibly even have a parking spot off on the side. You want to be able to fit everybody comfortably into the house, and in that way, people don't have to coordinate all the time trying to figure out schedules in case that they need to leave in a hurry or go to work very fast. And the largest mistake I made of all from this specific mistake was that I didn't find an AC unit in the house. I wasn't even checking for that. I didn't know to check for that. I knew that I needed a furnace living in Colorado Springs, but at the same time, I should have been looking for an AC unit, as it does get pretty hot here in the summer. If I would have found an AC unit in the first place, I wouldn't have had to front a $4,000 cost of getting an AC unit in the house. So as you can see, making just one mistake leads to so many other mistakes that you could have looked out for if you had just known what you were looking for. Part of how this mistake came to fruition was that I was trying to find a house hack just way too quickly. I believe that I needed to look at every single house that came on the market that was a 5-bedroom and match my specific criteria without actually taking the time to get to know the house and figure out what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and have the ability to pass on it if I needed to. After a lot of problem solving, I was able to take care of most of the issues that came along with making that mistake. but I did make another one right around the corner. See, shortly after closing on the house hack, I had a friend that came to me and asked me, "Hey, can I move into your house? I heard that you are about to house hack," as I was telling the entire town about my strategy. And this directly went against Craig's advice in the book. He talks about not doing this. However, I wasn't even to that point in the book where I knew not to do that. And so I just put a tenant, which was a friend, in the house without actually thinking about it. This led to a world of problems for me, as this tenant turned out to be the worst tenant I could have probably ever put into the house. It turned out to be just a disaster, and I wish I could go back on it and fix everything. But without this lesson, I wouldn't have learned a lot of very valuable information about how to vet tenants and what to look out for when you're putting people in a house that you're also living in. It's not easy finding the perfect tenant, but especially don't put a tenant in your house that is your friend. Trust me, even if you guys are the best of friends and you guys' personalities mesh up perfectly, you don't want to put yourself in that position where this tenant, your friend, could possibly make it very hard on you to evict them, as that would be very emotional, and you might not do the due diligence that you would normally do if you weren't putting a friend into your house. My third mistake, which I believe isn't actually my most important mistake that I made, was I didn't pick a very good realtor. To be honest, I went with the realtor that I found first. As time went on, he started to realize that I did have a lot of real estate knowledge from listening to BiggerPockets podcasts and just studying all the time. As time went on, he started to realize that I had this information, and so he stopped putting in the effort that he was putting in originally. He saw that I was starting to find houses on my own. I knew exactly what criteria I wanted. I remember a specific example was that we went to a house to go look at it, and he stayed in his car. He let me into the house and then said he had a phone call and went back out to his car, and I didn't see him again until I was done looking at the house, and he locked it up. And so essentially I had to find all of the houses that I wanted all on my own, and I had no help. A realtor is a good aid for somebody who does have the information but might not know exactly what they're looking for, and maybe a realtor has some on-hands experience that they can help you out with. And now moving forward, I have a fantastic real estate agent, and that first real estate agent really taught me a lot about what I didn't want in a real estate agent. Made me realize that having a realtor is such a fantastic way to aid in what you already know. I hope you guys learned a little bit about what I did wrong when I first went into my house hack, and I hope you guys don't make the same mistakes. If you had made a mistake similar, let me know down in the comments, or even comment what your largest mistake was when you bought your first real estate investment property. I'm very curious to learn what went wrong for you, and maybe we can all learn from your mistakes as well. If you liked the video, please let me know by hitting the like button, and please subscribe, as I will be releasing a lot more information on house hacking in the future, and I'll be sharing everything I know about house hacking moving forward. Thanks guys, I'll catch you later.